Hi everyone. Now I am going to discuss the semester end exam question paper pattern. Now I am going to explain every unit and how many marks that is going to cover in end exams. Here you can see this table. In this table total here 6 units. Okay, and next you have number of questions for end exam. For part A 5 marks, for part B 10 marks. Now we'll start with first unit number 1, 8051 architecture. It covers total 25 marks in external exam. For part A you'll get one 5 marks question, and for part B you'll get two 10 marks questions. Total it carries 25. Unit number 2, assembly language programming. It covers two 5 marks questions for part A, two 10 marks questions for part B. Total it carries 30 marks. Unit number 3, embedded C. It covers total 25 marks. For part A, one 5 marks question. For part B, two 10 marks questions. Unit number 4, IO port and interrupt programming. For part A, one 5 marks question, two 10 marks questions. Total it carries 25 marks. Unit number 5, timers, counters and serial IO. For part A it covers two 5 marks, one 10 marks, total 20 marks. Last unit, that unit number 6, interfacing the 8051, two 5 marks question, again one 10 marks question. It carries 20 marks in external exam. For part A will get total 45 marks. For part B will get total 100 marks. Both together 145. So out of 145 you have to write the answer for 100 marks. For part A you have to write the answer for 30 marks. For part B you have to write the answer for 70 marks. Now I am going to give the important questions for every unit to prepare for external exams. From the microcontroller applications unit, you have to concentrate every unit wise the important questions, and you have to prepare those questions so many number of times, because those questions are very important, because those questions are repeatedly so many times in the previous exams. Here you can see I have colored some questions. Those questions are very important and you have to prepare those questions so many times, more than one time, two times, till you become perfect. You prepare those questions. Already I have given notes, PPTs, as well as I have uploaded videos in YouTube, and I have shared all the links as well. Those already explained according to the question bank. Now again I am giving the questions as well also. For unit number 1, the 5 marks questions are: first important question is list the features of 8051 microcontroller. Here you have to write all features of 8051. Next, differentiate between a microcontroller and microprocessor. You have to write the difference between microcontroller and microprocessor. You have to write minimum 6 to 7 differences. Next one, compare the features of RISC and CISC. Again it is comparison. You have to write one side RISC, one side CISC. Again write the 6 to 7 differences. Next one, explain the significance of PSW of 8051. Here you have to explain significance of PSW means program status word. First you have to draw the bit structure of PSW. Next you have to explain every bit of PSW. Next, list the functions of any 5 SFR. SFR means special function registers. I have given the table of all SFRs which comes in 8051. Out of that you can write any 5 SFRs functions. You have to explain function of every SFR in 8051. Sometimes same question they are going to ask, explain or list the following SFRs and write their functions. They are going to give some SFRs, they ask to explain those SFR. Next, list the points to be considered during the selection of a microcontroller for an applications. Here you have to write all the points which are given in the notes as well as videos. You have to write those points and explain all those points. Next one, name the pins of 8051 used for external memory interfacing and list their functions. There are total 3 pins are used, okay, for interfacing mainly, and remaining pins are related to the port pins, and you have to explain on delatch. You have to explain those all pins which are used for interfacing. Okay, already I told those pins in details with the diagrams. Here not necessary to draw the diagrams, just you have to write the pin names and functions. Next, identify which ML the data is moved after the execution of the following program segment. They have given one program here. After this one, which ML in the sense which memory location the data is moved after execution of this program. Here what they have done, they have set the register bit RS1 of PSW and another RS0 they are making clear by using CLR RS0. Next they are storing 25H in R1, 65H in R3. Okay, these numbers are storing which memory locations. That means indirectly they are asking the address of R1, address of R3 belongs to which register banks. Okay, using the table in PSW I have given the table of RS1 and RS0, okay, combinations. Depends on the status of RS0 and RS1, you can tell us which register bank is selected. For every register bank you have the address for R0 to R7. Here RS1 is 1, RS0 is 0. Okay, this is third combination. That means register bank 2 is going to select. For register bank 2, the register address is, you have to see it in the table of this RS1 and RS0, and the corresponding address of R1 and R3 you have to mention. That is the memory location. Next, they are not given any instructions here. You have to write the instructions to select register bank 0 and register bank 3. For register bank 0, RS1 RS0 is 0. Okay, you can write CLR RS1, CLR RS0. That is a 2 instructions enough to select register bank 0. For register bank 3, set B RS1, CLR RS0. Sorry, set B RS0. You have to set both RS1 and RS0. Okay, both should be 1 1 to select register bank 3. Both should be 0 0 to select register bank 0. Okay, you have to write the answer like this. For 10 marks, okay, which are the important questions? We'll see now. First question, this is very important question. You have to give more concentration. You have to practice the block diagram or architecture of 8051 microcontroller. They are going to ask, explain the architecture of 8051 microcontroller, or they are going to ask, explain the block diagram of 8051 microcontroller. Here first you have to draw the diagram without any mistakes. Next you have to explain all the blocks of 8051. This is very important. Give more concentration on this one. Next, describe method of interfacing 2K data RAM to 8051 microcontroller. Interfacing. Okay. Here you have to draw the diagram of 8051 microcontroller one side, 2K data RAM diagram another side. Next you have to connect all the required pins which are used for interfacing. For 2K you have to first calculate the address lines. Depends on the address lines, you have to connect only those number of pins to the external 2K data RAM. Okay. Depends on the size of the memory, the number of address lines are going to change. I have solved this problem in the class. Okay. You can go through that one. Okay. If you have any queries, ask me. Same thing, instead of 2K, 4K, number of address lines is going to increase. 1K means 2 raised to 10, and next 2 into 2 raised to 10, that is 2 raised to 11. For 4K, 2 raised to 2 it becomes 4 into 1K means 2 raised to 10, that is 12 address lines. 2 raised to 3 into 2 raised to 10, it is 13 address lines. Like this, you just increase the address lines. Remaining will be same. For ROM, you have to connect only read pin, not a write pin, because it is a read only memory. For RAM, you have to connect write pin as well as read pin. Only that is the number of pins is changed. Remaining all the pins are same. Next, they are going to ask 10 marks question. Explain the function of register A, register B. PC means program counter, SP means stack pointer, and data pointer. That is in shortly written as DPTR. You have to explain function of register A, register B, PC, stack pointer, DPTR. I explain all the registers. You just go through it and explain. These are very important questions. Explain the internal RAM organization of 8051. You have to draw the diagram of internal RAM, and you have to explain all three sections of internal RAM. Total you have 128 bytes of RAM is there for 8051. You have to explain that all 128 bytes how it is organized in the internally RAM locations of 8051. These are the important questions comes in unit number 1. Now we'll go for unit number 2, which are the most important 5 marks questions. This is first question. Identify the addressing modes of following instructions. They are going to ask to identify the addressing modes. You have 5 addressing modes. Out of that, you have to identify the every instruction belongs to which addressing modes. They are going to give some instructions and they are going to ask to identify. You have to write first instruction. In front of that, you have to write the name of the addressing mode belongs to that instruction. Next, differentiate between the assembly instruction and assembly directives. This difference table I have given. What is the main difference between assembly instruction and assembly directives? You have 4 assembly directives in 8051. And what is the main difference between those directives and instruction? Next, they are going to ask classify the instruction set of 8051. You have different types of instruction set: data transfer, okay, logical instructions, next arithmetic instructions, rotate instructions, jump instructions, call instructions. You just write those names and explain some instructions, 2 instructions for each to get the 5 marks. Next, they ask uses of the following instruction. They are going to give some instructions, mnemonics. They are going to ask the what is the working of those mnemonics. For example, NOP. What is the function of NOP? What is the function of XRL? What is the function of ORL? What is the function of ANL? What is the function of RETI? You have to first write NOP. Next, you have to write meaning of NOP. Next, you have to write function and example. Next, flags are affected. They are going to ask some programs. Write an ALP to transfer block of data from one portion of InterRAM to another. This program I have solved as well as you are solved in lab as well. Okay. In notes also I have solved this one, in class also I have told this one. You have to write assembly language program, the block of data from one portion of RAM to another. Within the one RAM location to another RAM location, how you are going to transfer the data. Like that, they are going to ask conversion, code conversion, one form to another form. Write an LP to convert ASCII to hexadecimal. You should know what is the meaning of ASCII. You should know what is the meaning of hexadecimal. These are important questions that are going to cover in 5 marks. Now we'll go for 10 marks section. Here, first question is, this is so many times asked in the exams. Explain the addressing modes of 8051. You have to explain all 5 addressing modes with an example to get 10 marks. Each explanation of addressing mode carries 2 marks. Next, out of these 2, they are going to ask any one. Explain any 5 conditional branch instruction of 8051. Conditional branch instruction means which are the instructions are going to check the condition. Depends on the condition, it is going to take the actions. Those instructions called as conditional branch instruction. For example, JC, JNC, JB, JNB. That means checking on particular bit status or checking particular register status. Okay, depends on that, it is going to take the action. That is called as condition. Next, explain any 5 single bit instruction. Okay, clear bit, set bit. Okay, next swap bit, next invert, clear, that is one you can say. Like that, you have to explain any 5 single bit instructions already given. Bit instruction set, you just go through that instruction set. Out of that, you just write 5 instructions with an example. Function, example, flags affected. Next, you will get one program ALP to search for a given 8 number in a list of n 8-bit numbers, or they are going to ask any largest or smallest of n 8-bit numbers. These all programs are solved and you executed also, you got the answer as well. So concentrate those programs and practice well and solve if you get in the exam. Now we'll go for unit number 3. Okay, for 5 marks, the important questions is, first question is, list the advantages disadvantages of using 8051. So in 8051, what is the use of to write the program in C, and what are the disadvantages to write the program in C? This is very important. Next, they are going to ask the different logical operators or arithmetic operators in 8051. Out of these 2, they are going to ask for 5 marks. Sometimes they are going to ask both for 10 marks. Next, explain the different data types. Different data types, that is, I given the table and range and usage. These all things have given. For example, data types are signed int, unsigned int, char, unsigned char, SFR, SBit. Okay. These are different types of data types which are available in 8051C. Not only writing the data types name, you have to write the range. Okay, you have to write the function, you have to write the usage of those data types to get 5 marks. Next, explain the different memory models. You have to write memory models. I have given memory models, and explain the different memory type specifiers available in 8051C. Next, these are the programs. Write C statement to do the following task. I have solved these programs as well. Okay, in classes I have given the notes also. I have solved so many programs like this. To toggle the content of P0, that means if you want to toggle the P0 bits, which are the C statement you are going to write. And if you want to make left shift, which are the instruction you are going to use. There you are going to use arithmetic operators, less than, greater than, shift, bit shift. Okay, right, left shift. Next, you can masking to mask D3 and D5 bits of P0. to toggle the D7 and D3 bit of P2. That means particular bit of P2 and particular bits of P0. You have to mask. Mask means you have to make it 0. For making 0, you have to use the AND operation. To toggle, you have to use NOT operations. You have to use the symbols which are comes in arithmetic operators. Like this, remaining also same program, just changing the port names. For 10 marks, they are going to ask the important questions here. They are asked so many times. The important question is write 8051 C program to convert unpacked BC to ASCII and display it on P0. This is one. Next, write 8051 C program to toggle all the bits of P0 for every 500 milliseconds. Write 8051 C program to convert ASCII into unpacked BCD, send it to P0. This already solved these programs in assembly language and I have solved in C also. Okay, here you just go through the C statements, you will understand. And here they are going to ask this program, write 8051 C program to output checksum byte for 4 bytes of data, particular numbers on port P3. This is I have told how to find out the checksum byte and how to write the program for that. Next, I have given this one also. Depends on the conditions how to send the data. Okay. So these are main programs. You go through it and practice it. These programs they will ask for 5 marks single question. They ask A and B, A and B. This for 10 marks. Now we will come for unit 4. In unit 4, the main important 5 marks questions are compare interrupt method and polling method for servicing the devices. If I want to give the service for devices in 8051, how you are going to give the service? There are two methods. One is interrupt method, another is polling methods. Already you know. Then what is the main difference between interrupt method and polling methods of servicing the devices? So you just write down the table for compare interrupt method and polling methods of serving devices. Write it at least 6 to 7 differences to get the 5 marks. Next, explain the bit structure of IP register, interrupt priority register. How you are going to change the priority of every interrupt if you get more than one interrupt. That is explained by the IP register. Next, explain the bit structure of I register, interrupt enabled register. If you want to get a service for interrupts, you should enable all the interrupts. Then out of that, you have to enable individual interrupt if you want to give the service for every interrupts. Next is, this is also very important question in the exam. So many times they ask this one. List the steps involved in executing an interrupt. It's very important because 8051 always perform its normal executions. It won't give always service for interrupts. Interrupt occurs oftenly or whenever service is required for that interrupt. Once interrupt occurs, the CPU has to suspend its normal execution and it has to go for interrupt service routine. Then it has to give the service for the enabled interrupts. Then while suspending the normal execution and to give the service for interrupt, what are steps are going to follow, followed by the 8051. Those steps you have to write it here. There are total 6 steps are there. You have to explain all those 6 steps to involve in executing an interrupts. Next, list the interrupts of 8051 and their vector location. I have given the table of all interrupts and their corresponding locations in 8051. You have to write both. Next, I told how to disable the interrupts, how to enable the interrupts, and how to disable particular interrupts and how to enable remaining all the interrupts except disable interrupts. These are all things I have told in the classes. Just go through it, and I have uploaded videos as well. Just watch those videos. Still, if not clarified your doubts, ask me. Okay, I will going to give the solution for your doubts. In 10 marks questions, summarize the different interrupts of 8051 with respect to method of their activation and interrupt factor table. IVL means interrupt factor table. The 10 marks question. Here first you have to summarize all the different interrupts of 8051. Okay, total you have 6 interrupts. In IVL you will get the only 5 interrupts. According to the vector location, you have the vector location for 5 interrupt. 6th interrupt is reset. The vector location is 0 0. So leave that one. In IVL, remaining all locations I have given. As per the IVL, you just put the table which one occurs first as per the priority, which one occurs last as per the priority. This all interrupts you have to put into the table, and finally you have to explain every interrupt. What is the function of each interrupt? Next, here they are going to ask some C programs. Write an ALP, ALP means Assembly Language Program, as well as C program to send the values 0 to 4 to port P2. Or write an ALP and C program to toggle bit 1 of port 0 25,000 times. I have solved all these questions. Just you have to write the delay with 25,000, and you have to toggle the bit 1 of port 0, particular bit, that is P0.1, or continuously. Next is write an ALP and C program to continuously send 00H to 20H to port P0. Write an ALP and C program to toggle the bit 1 of port 0 continuously. These are the programs I have solved in the classes, okay, and I have explained in the lab as well, and I have told in videos also. Those are important questions from unit 4. Now we'll come for unit 5. In unit 5, we'll get the important questions on explain the features of timer 0 and timer 1 register. You have 2 timers in 8051. You have to write the features of timer 0 and timer 1 register. Explain the significance of SBUF register. Next, explain the significance of SI and RI flags. Next, list the steps involved in serial data transmission. List the steps involved in serial data receptions. Next, I have given the explain the operation of timer 0 in mode 1. Explain the operation of timer 1 in mode 2. These are very important questions which comes in unit number 5. Next, for 10 marks question, we'll get these 2 questions surely. Explain the base structure of T mode register. Explain the base structure of S count register. Next, they are going to ask again program here. Write an LP to transmit a message S serially at baud rate of 4800. I have given the baud rate table. In that one, I have mentioned the baud rate for every serial transmissions. You just select those down and write the instructions. Next, we'll go for next program. Write an LP and 8056 program to generate a square wave of 10 kHz at P1 to use a timer in mode 2 and crystal frequency 10 MHz. Now we'll go for unit number 6. Here the important questions are, they are going to ask write the schematic of interfacing the ADC 0804 to 8051. I recently uploaded unit number 6. There I have explained all the schematic diagram for interfacing. Just go through it. Schematic for interfacing DC motor to 8051, and sketch the schematic for interfacing stepper motor 8051. Next, pins. List the pins, alphanumeric LCD module which helps the interfacing with the microcontroller. For 10 marks, they are going to ask, the questions are, write the schematic algorithm to program interface DAC and generate triangular waveform. Next, write a schematic algorithm and a program to interface ADC 0804 to 8051. Sometime they are going to ask stepper motor, write a schematic algorithm and a program to interface a stepper motor to 8051 and rotate it in clockwise direction using normal 4D step sequence. These are very important questions for every unit. We prepare all 6 units. It covers total 145, and first 4 units, which covers first unit covers 25, second unit covers 30, third unit covers 25. Totally it covers 105 marks, remaining 40 marks. So mainly you concentrate first unit, second unit, because it's a sequential studies. If you skip any starting units, you will not understand remaining units. So read sequentially, don't skip any units between here, otherwise it's very difficult to understand the units. So study well, prepare this all important questions which are given now. If you have any doubts, or else if you won't get any answers for any important questions, ask me. Prepare well, study well, do well. All the best.